Well, hello, everyone. We're here again with someone new. So we brought Nora Trabin on this week, and Nora is running for school board. Nora is someone who I came in contact with a while back, and she's got quite a story. So we're going to let Nora tell a little bit about her background and experience, and maybe, Nora, you can give us a little idea as to what you think qualifies you to be a school board director here in the Upper Perk School District.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that introduction, Dr. Pfeiffer. And thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I love what you guys do over at Shield of Truth Network. It is a real honor to be here this afternoon. So a little bit about myself. I am a mother of 5 young children. I am a former elementary school teacher. I have over 6 years of classroom experience at the elementary level. I am a resident of beautiful Green Lane, Pennsylvania, and I have the honor of living in the Upper Perk School District, which I am running for school board director. Election November 4th. Go out and vote, everybody.
I know you have quite an educational background as well. Can you give us a little insight into what your education has been to prepare you for all of this?
Correct. Yes, I have an undergraduate in elementary education with a focus on early childhood education, which is the birth through 3rd grade. And I also have a master's of science in education with a focus on reading, writing, and literacy from the University of Pennsylvania.
Well, that sounds like it qualifies you, and also from an Ivy League school there. That's always nice. So, you were in the conventional school system and left that. Can you give us a little idea as to why and what motivated you to kind of leave and go into more of a family life?
Yes, let me start off by saying I loved being an elementary school teacher. I loved the families. I am still in contact with some of my students. I still get together with former colleagues. I think that is a real testament to the power of public education and the relationships and the community you build within that space. I am beyond blessed to be able to stay home and raise my children through the blessings and support of my husband, Ben. So it was really, at the end of the day, it was a really difficult decision to leave teaching, but now I have the greatest job in the world, being home with my children. That being said, I was a daily substitute in Upper Perk School District around the year 2022 for a brief stint, which was wonderful. I got to be in the classroom, back doing what I loved with the kids. I got to meet so many of our wonderful administrators and teachers in the Upper Perk School District. And I think that really lit the fire to motivate me to run, because I saw what an awesome school district we have here, and so many positive things going on when so much of the negative is always being in the headlines and being highlighted.
Well, this is a non-paid position as well. Is that correct?
Certainly is.
So give us some idea of your motivation to get involved with a non-paid position that I'm sure is not the easiest in the community to be able to do either, because you have people on both sides who want different things.
I agree. I would like to circle back to being a stay-at-home mom. That is what we call unpaid work, but is the most important and rewarding role. I think when you are able to step up and perform a civic duty, nothing is more valuable than being able to give back and have a voice to your community, your neighbors, your citizens. It would give me pause if a school board director was a paid position. I think money motivating people to run would not be a very good thing to have in our pool of candidates, people with a monetary incentive, no matter how big or small it would be. I just think it's really impressive that so many people before me, and even now in the current race, are willing to donate and volunteer and give their time, energy, and resources to such an important role, which is so often overlooked in the grand scheme of local politics, state politics, national politics.
Well, you, I'm sure, have certain issues or a platform per se that has really engaged you in this process. And perhaps you can give some insight into what that may be and how that may contrast with some others running for the same position.
Yes, certainly. As I stated earlier, I think we have such a fabulous school district here in Upper Perkiomen. There are so many wonderful things going on. We are a small district. We have about 3,099 students. We have a budget of about $80.9 million. So we have lots of good things happening. I think our smaller size, in my opinion, is a valuable asset to us. It creates a tighter knit community. It really fosters those relationships and connections. When you go out to a school event, you can see and connect with pretty much everybody in the district because it's such a small, cohesive community, which I think is so fantastic. I am coming from a place of I want things to stay positive. I want things to be focused on the students. I think so much is lost with the adults who are trying to work through and navigate maybe some of their own personal history, maybe some of their experiences growing up in school that I see are being pushed and infiltrated into the commentary right now at school board meetings and in the classroom and when we're picking curriculums. I feel a big problem to me that I see is the rise of anxiety and depression in our young students. And I don't like the direction some of these curriculums are going. For example, social emotional learning, SEL, as we like to call it. I have taught these programs in neighboring districts. I've seen the materials. My belief is that these programs create the anxiety and depression within the students, and then they turn around and then sell school districts the solution. I think they're preying on some of the insecurities of parents and educators and teachers. We all want children to be social. We all want children to be healthy, emotional beings. But I think the language that they use, social emotional learning, is purposeful too, because then when somebody criticizes it or gives it a little pushback, the other side's going to say, oh, how can you criticize social emotional learning? It's so flowery. It sounds so wonderful. But that's also by design, because the way that they're teaching kids to be perpetual victims, the way that they're teaching kids to ruminate over every little thing that goes wrong throughout their day, just it doesn't serve anybody and it doesn't empower students, which I would like to see more of in meaningful conversations, giving kids more recess, giving kids more opportunities to work things out naturally rather than the prescribed curriculum that's telling them you're a victim and here's why. So that was a big driving force for trying to kind of right the ship, as they say.
Well, that's wonderful. And, you know, one of the things that I've seen in my practices here is the negative effects that have occurred through the whole isolation that we all experienced through COVID. Now, I know there were challenges then with students learning because they were segregated and they were all at home for a period of time. That has impacted, I know, on not only the education of the students, but also the communication that the students have been able to experience, the isolation that that caused. And, you know, I feel personally that the lack of understanding of how to communicate, I mean, granted, these kids, I went to the school board meetings twice about masking. These kids had no opportunity to learn, especially at a young age, how to use or to appreciate facial expressions and some of the emotional tones of voice that we utilize to communicate. So these are things I know that we're all battling, not only in schools, but outside of that as well. And how do you feel that that has impacted on things to the degree that we've denigrated relative to our ability to communicate?
That is a great question and one that we are all still trying to answer. Something I say with my own children, I go, hey, guys, read the room. Like if everybody is jumping and laughing and having a silly time, maybe that's an appropriate time to jump and act, be silly. But if everybody's quiet and they're reading and their voices are soft, let's read that situation and let's have our bodies kind of and energy match that. So that kind of example is what I'm trying to instill in my own children, and I'm hoping other families and parents are as well. I feel that with the masking and the distancing, we were also teaching kids that, oh, it's not your fault. You're this way because you had to wear a mask for months. You're this way because you weren't able to interact with kids your own age, which is true. But I think we kind of need to dig ourselves out of that and take the power back and say, yes, you were served a really raw deal. And the way this situation was handled was not the best for you. So how can we empower ourselves, not be victim to that mentality? It's okay if you are in a conflict with somebody in your classroom. It's okay if you're arguing with a peer. Let's talk about ways that you can be productive in arguing. We don't want to teach everybody to get along all the time. We don't want to teach everybody to agree with everybody all the time, but we need to be able to engage in civil discourse. And a lot of that was lost because, oh, you're feeling sad. Okay, shut it down. It's not your fault. I'll tell you why. Oh, you got into a fight with that friend. Okay, you're not friends anymore. Shut it down. It's not a productive way. And I feel like we need to kind of, like I said, give the power back to our students and communities to advocate for themselves and understand it's okay to disagree. It's okay if you go into a room and you don't match the energy. You didn't read that room right. That's okay. Let's talk about how we can do better next time.
I think that's really important. Personal responsibility, number one. And secondarily, and I think this is something that we teach to adults nowadays as well, is being able to have a debate and discussion and be civil and not feel that just because someone doesn't agree with you, they have to be ostracized or you can't even speak to them. This has been lost also, I think, and not just on children. This is something that is pervasive through our society today, I feel. So, educating the children about that at a young age, I think is important as well.
I agree. And I always say, if I cut off the people in my life who didn't agree with me politically, socially, economically, I would lose 50% of my contacts, 50% of my friends and my family. And I think that's a beautiful thing, to be able to engage with people who are different from you, engage with people who are the total opposite of any political, economic, social spectrum of you. Because I think then you can demonstrate to them, like, we have so much more that we can work on and come together on than all the noise in the Twitterverse, all the noise on the internet. And when you meet someone face to face and you realize that we're all human beings at the end of the day, and we all want what's best for our kids. We all want what's best for our communities. And we need to start there and remember that.
Well, as you know, one of our core values is education, and we feel strongly about that, strongly about educating folks and trying to ferret out the truth. Sometimes that is the biggest challenge. And, coming from a science background, that is something that is always critical for us, is to, go through experimentation and determine maybe what you think isn't the truth. There are different perspectives to everything. We have to listen to everyone relative to that. I think that's another important thing that kids need to learn, is that your perspective may be fine, but it's from one angle. Let's look at it from a different angle and see what that looks like as well.
Correct. And how to do that without shouting and name calling and having an adult come in and mediate the situation, which is what we're seeing far too often in the school setting. These adults just coming in and fixing these problems, and we're never giving these kids the proper tools to navigate that.
And one last thing that I have seen so much, and this has always been a part of adolescence and growing up, but that's the bullying that occurs. And we experienced that right here in the Valley decades ago with the first school shooting, was all related to bullying. It had nothing to do with, someone being trans or someone being gay or whatever. It was because the kid was scrawny and skinny and, he was picked on. So there's, I feel strongly about the fact that there's no place for that in the school system. And
Certainly.
Kids have to learn that. Again, it goes back to what you're discussing, the communication and being able to discuss and debate things rather than, just picking on somebody all the time. And I know that that that's a critical issue, and that's something that we need to deal with.
Right. And like I said, giving students the tools to navigate that. And of course, we have so many wonderful adults and staff members in our school district who can support students who are struggling. Absolutely, there are qualified individuals who are able to fill that role. But as we said earlier, when you see these incidents of horrific bullying, when you see incidences of students feeling like they don't have anywhere else to turn. We need to be able to equip them to advocate for themselves and to be able to navigate that space in a healthy way.
Absolutely, I agree. So Nora, once again, the election is when?
November 4th, Tuesday. It's very important. Vote local. Very exciting stuff. I'm hoping it's going to be a bright, beautiful, sunny day. Get everybody to the polls.
And even if it's not, everybody needs to get out.
You need to get to the polls. Yep, wear a raincoat.
Yeah, this is one of our off elections, quote unquote. So,
Correct.
This is one where people think it's not as important to get out and vote. It's not the president or the Senate or whatever. But these are the critical, as Nora just said, the critical elections for your local community. So I'm going to encourage everyone to get out and vote. And Nora, those who do want to get more information about you, how can they do that?
Yes, you can visit my campaign Facebook page, Nora Trabin for School Board. You can send me a message. I'm always looking for some donations. We need some more door knockers coming up in the next few weeks to get the word out to really encourage and engage people that November 4th is election day, and vote local, because those are the impacts and the decisions that are going to affect you directly.
Absolutely. And it's NORATRABIN for those of you who didn't quite catch that.
Correct.
All right. Well, listen, Nora, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. We appreciate you, and we appreciate what you're motivated to do this job for. So those of you who are out there who are willing to get involved, this is what makes it happen. When people are willing to put up yard signs, to go out and knock on doors, to tell people, at least friends and family, about someone who's running for a position that you feel is qualified and will do a good job. So thank you again, Nora. You take care and stay well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pfeiffer. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Nora. Everyone take care. Have a wonderful day. And we'll be back with another episode of our podcast very, very shortly. And I think you'll enjoy who we have then. Take care. Have a good day.